George, during your more than 20 years in office, I'm sure you've had many memorable experiences and met many fascinating people. Share with us some of your memories, for example, Queen Elizabeth and the Magna Carta.
Well, that's an interesting experience. It was an interesting experience. The British government decided that they wanted to do something special for the bicentennial celebration that we were having here. And so they decided to take one of the two best copies that they have of the Magna Carta and put it on display in our Capitol in a presentation case that they prepared specially for it, and then to leave a permanent copy of it here. When the Queen came over for the ceremonies to present it, I was asked to participate in greeting her, and which I did. And she came back in the evening for dinner, and a reception, which was in the British Embassy. There was a rope barricade used, as it usually is, for crowds to keep them back, while she circulated around the edges of it from the inside and smiled and shook people's hands as she went around the circle. When she came to her, I was standing with my wife. I had worked my way up to the edge of where the rope was. And since she and I had met and talked about the presentation earlier in the day on the official visit, I said to her, "Your Majesty, you may recall we talked about the presentation case earlier in the day, and I'd like to present my wife," and so on. And so she greeted her and said, "By the way, what was that snake doing in the sculpture underneath the British coat of arms?" I said, "Well, that was representative of the Garden of Eden, and that was the snake from the garden." "Oh," she said, "well, that explains it." She said, "I thought it wasn't very nice to have a snake under the British coat of arms." And she went on, moved along. And in the background, I saw President Ford, who was there for the same purpose of greeting her, talking to somebody. And I later on discovered he was, because she had stopped and talked at some length. I'm shortening it, but it took quite a little while. And she didn't talk to anybody else. And so Ford said to the people with him, "What the hell is the Queen of England doing talking to George White?" So that was an interesting experience from my standpoint.